Hello and welcome to Vipers Voices, where we've just finished match 7 for the Desert Vipers in season 2 of DP World ILT20, and it's a victory for Colin Munro's side and a very convincing win in the end by 6 wickets with more than 3 overs in hand up against the Gulf Giants in a repeat of last year's final. The Gulf Giants making 160 in their 20 overs after being put into bat, and the Vipers knocking those runs off for the loss of just 4 wickets. Propelled by half centuries by Colin Munro and Azam Khan, his 50 came in just 18 balls, the fastest 50 in the history of this tournament. But there was also runs for Alex Hales, 44 at the top of the order, and I'm delighted to say that he joins us now. Alex, thanks so much for being with us. And well, is it a case of the real Vipers standing up? Because that really was a Vipers-like performance for perhaps the first time in this tournament.
Yeah, it was much more like it. We've probably, if we're being honest, we've not quite been at our best this tournament, but to come out in a must-win game for us against the defending champions and play like that was very impressive. And yeah, it's now's when it counts in tournament cricket. You want to be playing your best cricket towards the end of it. And that's exactly what we felt like we did today. It was very convincing, and it looked like it was going to be close towards the back end there, but the way Azam and Colin batted was brilliant. It took all the pressure off.
What about the toss? Vipers won it, opted to bowl first. That's been the story for the majority of times in this tournament. Was it an important toss to win?
I think it was, yeah. I'm not sure anyone's defended yet at this ground at Dubai, so I think the toss does play an important role, but if you win it, you haven't won the game. You still have to go out there and perform well, and I thought we set the tone really well with the ball early on. A couple of, few wickets in the power play, which is always a bonus, and I think our bowling's been pretty good most of the year, so it's nice to back it up with the bat there.
Alex, you talked about the bowling, and once again, Wanindu Hasaranga, absolutely outstanding. He came on actually in the power play, bowled his 4 overs through, 2 for 15, didn't concede a boundary. He really is so important, isn't he?
Huge, yeah, and that 6th over he bowled, that's a really important over for us because teams are always looking to attack that over, and we thought he was a perfect matchup for that. So he came on and did his job brilliantly, as he has done for the 2 seasons so far. He's been outstanding, bat, ball, and in the field. I think he's one of the best all-rounders in the world. So to have him in our ranks is huge for us.
And Mohamed Amir, 3 for him, 3 for 34, including the crucial wicket of James Vince to the first ball that Vince faced. He's been a nuisance for the Vipers in the past, so that was a really important strike first up as well, wasn't it? And Amir bowled really nicely today.
He did, yeah, and he's one of the best operators in the world. He's been around a long time, can swing the ball, and he's also got really good variations at the death, so he's a very important bowler for us. And to get the wicket of James Vince, one of the best batters in T20 in the world, in my opinion, so always consistent, and it's nice to see the back of him early.
Just talk to us about the last 5 overs of that Gulf Giants innings. They got 59. Shimron Hetmeyer, another player who's been an absolute nuisance to the Vipers over the years, got 40 in 23 balls. 59 in those last 5, was that just maybe a little bit too many?
Maybe, yeah. I think they batted well, but I think they access the smaller side of the ground a little bit easier than what they should have done. But we know that as a side, and when we've got similar dimensions, we'll bounce back a lot better. But he played nicely, but yeah, we probably could have tried to get him to hit out to the bigger side a little bit more. But we'll learn for the future games.
160 at the halfway stage. Would you have taken that if I'd offered it to you at the halfway at the beginning of the match?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's probably around par for the day games here. The pitch can be on the slower side, but as you say, when it's chasing, it certainly seems to be the trend that it's an easier game when you're chasing. So I think we'd have taken 160, probably around par, and then I thought we batted really well. I thought it was a little bit tricky in the power play. Had a little bit of luck with some edges and inside edges, but sometimes you need that when you score some runs.
Just talk to us about your innings, because it looks to me, when you've got runs in the last couple of games, that you've been consciously making sure you've got in before you look to be too expansive. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's important over here. I think there's been a little bit of swing and a little bit of seam, so and a little bit of sort of slow bounce off the pitch. I think it's important just to try and give yourself a few balls to get used to what the pitch is going to do, whether there's going to be any swing or seam. And there actually was a little bit of nibble out there today, so I just wanted to rein it in a little bit. A couple of edges to help keep the scoreboard ticking along, and then expand a little bit in the middle when it got easier.
Just rewinding for a second, and it does apply to you here. Obviously, with the wickets that had been taken in that first innings, in the Gulf Giants innings, the Gulf Giants made the decision to swap in Carlos Brathwaite rather than Richard Gleeson. Gleeson was the man who was penciled in to be swapped in for them, but because they'd lost those wickets, they felt they needed that extra batting. How important was that in the final analysis, because you didn't have to face Gleeson with the new ball?
Yeah, Gleeson's he's tough at the top of the order with the new ball. He swings it at a good pace and gets a little bit of bounce and seam. So anytime you don't have to face him with the new ball is a bonus. I can see why they did it. Carlos he's a decent bowler as well, and he can whack some at the end. So, Gleeson's a huge cog in their wheel, and he's tough work with the new ball. So I'm always pleased not to face him.
Just talk to us about that remarkable transformation in the Vipers' innings with Colin Munro and Azam Khan. They added 80 in roughly 6 overs, and they just turned the whole game on its head, and it made what was appearing to be quite a difficult chase an absolute walk in the park in the end.
Yeah, it was amazing hitting from Azam. I sat in the change room after I got out, sat with Tamal and said this could be a tricky little chase here. It could be hard work and a tight game. And Azam just comes out 2 wickets in the over and pops it back over his head for 6 first ball. So when he did that, we all thought, wow, like he could do something special here. And he's that kind of player. He's one of the best hitters I've played with, a very good player of spin and a very powerful man. So to have him in our ranks like that is very important.
The key there, I suppose, was I think it was the 15th over. Carlos Brathwaite bowled it. It went for 22, and after that, you were away, never to be caught.
Yeah, that was game over, and it was very impressive batting as well. Seeing, with the field, he could see that he was probably going to look to bowl wide, and he just stepped across and swept him beautifully. So it's it's using his initiative and very good proactive batting.
Where do you think this leaves the Vipers now in terms of the overall situation in this tournament? The team was 6th coming into this match. Now all of a sudden you've jumped up to 3rd, and possibly the top 2 is a realistic ambition.
It's definitely a realistic ambition. I think we've probably got to win 2 out of 3 to hopefully give a chance of getting through. But it's a very tight group, and we can see that we've won a game today and we've jumped up 3 places. So it's very, very tight. All the teams can still qualify, I think. So we're confident. We feel like we're where we're at, having played nowhere near our best cricket, which I think is an exciting place to be as a team. Knowing that if we click and start improving, then there's no reason why we can't go on and win the trophy.
And a word on Colin Munro. He's, by his own admission, been a bit scratchy in the tournament so far, but I think he really benefited from batting with Azam, and all of a sudden the shackles were off with him today.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes that's the way T20 goes. When you're a little bit out of touch or not batting the way you want to do, just hanging in there, getting a few out the middle, and now all of a sudden you're away. So if he finds form like that for the rest of the tournament, then he's going to be unstoppable. So great to see him back in the form that he knows he's capable of.
That result today as well, so important in terms of net run rate. It's given the side an enormous boost in that regard, hasn't it?
Definitely, yeah. And when it's a tight group like we've got, I think the net run rate becomes very, very important. So to do it the convincing way we did, take down that 15th over and just keep going from there is very important. It could be a very important thing come the final game of the tournament.
And I presume there's going to be a lobby in the dressing room now to play in green for the rest of the tournament.
I said that when we finished, actually shook hands. We've got to keep in this green kit for the rest of it, I think, if we're going to play like that. So really important performance in our green kit. Yeah.
And in terms of the crowd today, obviously it was the sustainability match for the Vipers, and the crowd rolled in great numbers. It really must be great to play in front of these numbers of people, because obviously last season it was the first season of the tournament. The crowds weren't great, let's be honest about it. But now all of a sudden the atmosphere must be fantastic out in the middle.
Definitely, it's been brilliant this year. Everyone's been out in their red and green shirts supporting the Vipers, so it's been great to see. But yeah, way better than what it was last year, and the atmosphere is good, whether it's a weekend, weeknight. The crowd have come out in numbers, so it's great to see.
And of course the important thing now is not to rest on the laurels, because there's another game coming up in less than 24 hours time.
Exactly, yeah, and against a tough team. I think Mumbai are top, so they're a very dangerous side, but it's quite nice when you get an emphatic win like that, just to roll out a game again the next day. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, there we are. Alex Hales looking forward to it. I think we all look forward to it after a performance like that from the Vipers. A fantastic win by 6 wickets, a 3rd win in the tournament this season for the Vipers. They'll roll on again now to face MI Emirates, and that is at Abu Dhabi on Sunday. And of course we'll have reaction for you here on Vipers Voices.